Welcome back to the IBJJF podcast. I'm here with Samir Chantre once again to break down the IBJJF FloGrappling Grand Prix. Samir, thanks for being here.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure. Excited for this one.
It's going to be amazing. It's going to be a great event. We got the male medium heavy GP. We've got the first ever female GP, and we got 3 amazing super fights. So why don't we start with the female GP? We've got Luisa Montero, Ana Rodriguez, Maisa Bastos, and Janaina Lebre. Let's start with Luisa and kind of go one by one. Luisa got her black belt in 2010. She's got tons of experience at the black belt rank. She's won the world. She's won the Europeans, the Pan. She's won pretty much every major title in the gi. How do you feel like Luisa's experience is going to play into how she performs at the Grand Prix?
I'm sure that's going to be a huge point for her. She's the most experienced fighter there. She's seasoned competitor with, like you said, has won all the major titles. She knows the way. That we can easily say that she knows the way. She knows how to get out of there with the crown. She hasn't been competing. She's out of the game for this past year. She has and last world she competed, she got second place. So she's always there. She's always on the top of her weight class. She's always really competitive in every tournament she gets in. She's either winning or she's right there. She has been competing the highest level for a long time. I do think she has a huge chance of coming out with a win on that GP.
Yeah, she has such a great team behind her with Atos. Like you said, she made the final of the Worlds in 2021, lost to Bia Mesquita, but she's fought pretty much the best black belts in the world from 2010 on, which gives her over a decade of experience fighting the top girls. And in the lightweight division, she's also gone up to middle before even medium heavy and had good results there. So with that amount of experience, I think it's pretty much guaranteed to see Luisa show up and have a great performance, regardless of if she comes out on top.
No, absolutely. And we see her beating such great athletes in the scene. I don't think you can ever count her out of any win there. So I'm pretty sure she's gonna be super competitive there. Even though like she hasn't been competing this past year, I don't think that's gonna be a problem for her. She can definitely go there and be super competitive and perhaps win the whole division.
Absolutely. Let's move on to the next 3 competitors who have been extremely active in 2022. We'll start with Ana Rodriguez. She won her first world title in 2021, won her second world title in 2022. And in addition to that, she also took on some pretty interesting challenges in 2022. She went up to featherweight for the Europeans where she won gold. She won gold at Pans at featherweight. And then she also just recently competed in her first major no-gi tournament at the Pan no-gi, went all the way up to lightweight and won that division. What do you think about Ana and all these different challenges that she's taken on and had success with?
Yeah, Ana, I will say the same thing that I said in our last podcast. Ana, it's a great competitor where you don't see her making mistakes. So this for me, it's one of her main characteristics. She goes, she doesn't make mistakes. She's super tight. She doesn't risk. When she's not 100% sure she's gonna make it. She's very strategic. She's very strategic. Once she sees the opening, she goes, and you don't see her the other girls making her back up that much. So if she advances, it means she's gonna get it. Hardly you see her making mistake. So in order for her not to win that one, I think somebody's gonna have to go there and really take that away from her. In a way, I mean, like really putting pressure on her, really making her fighting. Let's say in the defensive way. If any of these girls let her applying her game, putting her game, and staying like ahead of the game, they're gonna have a hard time stopping Ana.
We've talked a lot about Ana this year just because of all the success she's had, and you always mention how she barely makes mistakes. And I was trying to pay attention to that, watching her compete at the Nogi Pans, and it was so true. She would kind of wait for her opening. She wouldn't make any mistakes, and when it was there, she would capitalize on it. So it was very interesting looking at it through that lens of your analysis of her game.
Yeah, no, exactly, exactly. Like, she's not that competitor that's gonna go wild, that's gonna go trying 10 things at once. She's gonna go for that one where she feels that that's gonna be her time. She's gonna have the great timing. She's gonna get the great opportunity, and she's gonna go and she's gonna put her effort into it until she gets it. So she's very precise on her movements, and this has been giving her a lot of success.
Yes. Another competitor who's had a lot of success is Maisa Bastos. She won her third world title this year. She also won every major tournament that she competed at. She did that in the roosterweight division. This GP is at lightweight. So I know Maisa's expressed interest in going up in weight before. She's competed at light feather. She's done really well. How do you feel like Maisa's technique stacks up against these other competitors? And do you think the size disadvantage will play a role in her performance?
So Maisa is a super technical competitor. Her technique is amazing. One of the best pound per pound female competitor, in my opinion. She recently did won the Grand Slam, right? So it's it's the type of competitor that you can never count her out, even though she's competing 15 pounds under, 20 pounds under her weight. But uh, even though I do think she's definitely going to be a threat for anyone there and perhaps winning the whole division, because of her technique, because of her phenomenal jiu-jitsu that she has been proving these past years. She is going to be competing against other really high level competitors that are going to be 20 pounds heavier than her. So I'll say that this is definitely going to she is definitely one obstacle that she's going to have to take away, but she has been competing in heavier weight classes, testing herself in different divisions. So it's going to be very interesting and a great test for her. If that's something that she wants to do in the future, that's going to be a huge test for her. If she goes there and win this whole division, that's definitely going to prove for her that weight's definitely not going to be any obstacle for her in any other division she goes through, because the amount of talent that she's gonna face in this GP, it's probably gonna be the highest possible, that she's gonna find anywhere else.
I got a chance to talk to some of the other competitors in the GP, and they all mentioned that Maisa was the most technical female competitor right now. She has great passing, great guard play. So it's interesting that they all commented and said that Maisa had the best technique out of all of them.
Yeah, I truly believe all of them are super technical competitors, but I think Maisa is a little bit her technique. It's a little bit above there, and like I said, in my opinion, she's the best female fighter pound per pound nowadays. I do think she has been just on top of her game for these past years. Doing the Grand Slam just proves that, Um, yeah, and as far as the game goes, like, her guard is amazing, her passing is phenomenal. I don't think there's anywhere where she's gonna feel uncomfortable. So any of the competitors, in order to try to beat her, I don't think there is a hole in her game. It's I don't think there's anywhere that she's gonna say that somebody's gonna say, "Oh, I'm gonna do this because that's a weak point on Maisa." In order to beat her, the other girls will have to be very strategic and knowing really well what they're gonna do beforehand.
Let's move on to the last competitor who's added to the female GP, Janaína Lebre. Janaína got second at the Europeans, losing to Natalie Ribeiro in the final, and second also at the Worlds, where she lost to Fionn. She went on to win gold at American Nationals and Jiu-Jitsu Con, which were big tournaments as well. And Janaína's looked really good since winning the Worlds at brown belt, going into the black belt, and kind of just hitting the ground running. But what do you think about Janaína's game and how she stacks up against these other girls?
Yeah, so Janaina is a relatively new black belt, but she has been proving herself since. Um, she had great matches with Luisa. It was a tie, right? Luisa beat her by decision. Runner-up world champion, beating Natalie Ribeiro, and then after, like, revenging that loss at Europeans. So she's definitely in the mix. she's definitely in the mix. She has a great game. Her guard game is really good. She has a solid passes. She has some solid passes too. I definitely think she's a threat for any of the competitors. Like just as a recent black belt, she had a tie with losing by ref decision to Louisa in 2021.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So in 2021, which proves how great she just jumped into her black belt.
Yep.
So she's definitely a threat for any of the competitors there. No competitor should slip over Janaina. Yeah, she's definitely in the mix there, and she's great addition to the black belt roster. There's the black belt female roster. I'm excited to see any of the competitors there going against her. She proves herself at this Worlds too, doing really good. She had a great run at this Worlds. She had some really good matches, uh, going 100% from the first minute to the 10th minutes. I got the chance to watch some of her matches, so I was in fact pretty impressive with her performance there this last Worlds. So I'm excited to see her in. It's basically ultimate task for her this GP, because the greatest competitors are there.
Yeah, this GP has incredible competitors. The lineup is amazing. So if you had to go ahead and try to pick a winner out of this group of four amazing competitors, who are you going to go with?
I'll be very honest. I'll be on the fence for this one. I truly it's man, for this one. It's really hard because I see, in my opinion, the best female competitor pound per pound, which is Maisa. And then I see Louisa with all her experience and how amazing her game is from top to bottom. She can find her leg locks from anywhere, so she leg locks and foot locks. So she's a super dangerous competitor. And then you see Ana Rodriguez, who has been on a tear, who has been like I said, not making mistakes and beating literally and winning literally everyone in this past couple of years. So it's really hard. I think I don't think I'm sure. I'm 100% sure any of this. Anyone that wins, it's gonna be decided in detail. It's definitely going to be super even. Any of these matches there. I'm very honest. I'll be very honest. It's probably the most stacked division, female division that I've ever seen, and it's definitely the one that I'm most excited about, like ever. Honestly, like these four competitors is definitely gonna bring a good show for us. I'm gonna be on the fence for this one. Like I said, all of them has like I think these three especially because they are. Janine is an amazing competitor as a threat for any of them, but hasn't won worlds yet. That she doesn't have the experience that the other ones has. And then Maisa with three world titles, Anna with 2 world titles, Luisa with 2 world titles. So uh, I'm gonna have to go with one of those three. If I count Luisa, if which I don't think, like Luisa hasn't been competing this past year, so and in the same year that Anna and Maisa have been so dominant, so that may count against her favor, but with her experience, she can easily wipe that off, and so it's hard. It's hard. I'm trying,
It's
Danny,
a
but
really tough question.
yeah, I am trying. I'm trying. Um, I honestly don't know. But one thing I'm sure. It's definitely going to be a very. It's going to be a detail. It's going to be a detail that's gonna crown the winner for that division. That I'm sure. From the first match to the finals, it's definitely going to be one little detail, one mistake, one strategy advantage on the strategy, one precise movement. I don't think that's going to be any. It's not obvious for anyone here who's going to win.
It's tough because if this same division played out 4 different times, we might have 4 different results realistically.
Yeah, I agree there. I agree there.
Well, let's move on to male medium heavy. This is another crazy stacked bracket. We've got Andre Porfirio, Ronaldo Jr., Manuel Hibamar, Isaac Bahien's in this. So the division got shaken up a little bit from when it was originally announced. And I think this medium heavy bracket is incredible. So what were your thoughts when you saw this collection of 4 competitors join in on the medium heavy bracket?
Man, I really like it. I really like it. I would like to see Isaac Bayense is the only gi world champion in that division. I really like to see him there. He's a guy who's very hard to score on, has a big heart, starts from begin to the end, the same pace always. And Ronaldo Jr. is it's a highlight reel, like the guy's a monster. I love watching him competing. Um, he can he can do really good against any of these competitors. Andra Porfilio, man, great guard, amazing footlocks. It's the kind of guy that he can just beat anyone because if anyone falls into his game, he can snatch that footlock out of there. A great guard, very hard if he puts his guard in a winning situation. His guard playing it's not an easy task to score a point off of his guard though, and against his guard. I'm sorry. So and Ribamore, the guy is his jiu-jitsu phenomenal, great guard, has a great passings, showed a great wrestling in the last tournament. So he's he's super good all around, which adds a really good spicy to that mix, because there's no one guy there that'll count out on the in a win there. Definitely the most experienced there in terms of wins. It's Isaac Bayense. uh, Maybe I'll count him as a favorite since he's the only gi world champion there. But man, having Ronaldo Jr., Andre Porfilio, and Manuel Ribamore in that division, I can have any of the guys as a winner too. So it's gonna be a good
Definitely.
division, man. It's gonna be stacked. It's gonna be a good one.
Do you want to do a deep dive on the individual athletes like we did for the females? I think that would be fun for this bracket.
All right, let's do it. Yeah.
Let's start with Isaac. You mentioned he's the only gi world champion. He won the gi worlds in 2018. He's also made the final a total of 4 times. So he's always been at the top of his division from the time he got his black belt on. And like you mentioned, Isaac, he plays great from the top. He also doesn't make a lot of mistakes like Anna, another DreamArc competitor. And yeah, let's hear some more of your thoughts on Isaac and just his game overall and what you think his strengths are as a competitor.
Yeah. So one thing that I've been following Isaac since he was super young, probably blue belt. Uh, he's a really good competitor. Really good competitor. That's how I'll define him. Like he's a really good competitor. Super hard to score on. He has a really good heart. Really big heart. Like so he finds his strength from God knows where. And really, like 9 minutes into his match, he's gonna find strength from anywhere to try to come up with a single leg that he does so well. He has a good guard and super offensive guard. He's not the kind of player that's gonna open his legs and play around his legs there. He's gonna be the one that's gonna sit up and try to come up with your leg and try to really really score off of his guard. And from the top, man, from the top, that guy, it's like boom, 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 always looking for that pass, always really trying to push the pace in the match, And once he scores, scoring on him is not an easy task, So once he scores, his ability to avoid being scored on and controlling the match, it's great. He's definitely someone that, in my opinion, probably the one that like I said, the most experienced. I think the guy who, uh, I don't know how that sounds, but like that knows the way. I think he knows the way a little bit more than the other competitors. You
He
know what
knows
I
the
mean? And
path to victory. He knows his path to
yes,
victory.
yes, I truly see that. All the other competitors, they open up more. They have a different style. For Isaac, he is the competitor. Like uh, competition wise, he's very precise on his movements, and he knows the way, man. He knows the way.
What's really interesting to me about Isaac is he won his first world title at middleweight 2018. Then he made those two other middleweight finals. But this past year, 2022 Worlds, he went up to medium heavy and he had some great wins. He beat Gustavo Batista in the semis to advance to the final. He ultimately lost a really close match to Leandro Lowe, but it was really cool to see him go up a weight class and have so much success. So it seems like his game transferred very well to the medium heavyweight division.
Absolutely. As I mentioned, he knows the way. I truly think if he goes to heavy next year, he's gonna do really good too. Because he knows the way. The way that he competes. It just plays really well. It doesn't really matter in what division he goes. Like he knows the way. He knows the path. He knows what it takes to win.
Let's talk about Manuel Hibamar. He's a European champion, Nogi world champion. He's coming off a pan Nogi championship where he went up to medium heavy. I feel like Hibamar has experimented with middle and medium heavy, but it seems like a lot of his best performances have come in the medium heavy division. Would you agree with that analysis and that assessment? And how do you think he'll do against some of these other guys in the bracket?
No, absolutely, absolutely. He does feels more comfortable in the middle heavy. He does really well in that division, and I think one thing that I see that I think about Rima Moore, I think his game, I think his jujitsu, it's for the amount of jujitsu, for the amount of technique, for how good he is, he should have even more credentials. I truly think he can win the whole division. I think he might be the most technical competitor in that division. He's he can beat any of the other competitors. He's definitely one of the favorites in my opinion. Um, he showed that in this past tournament too. The nogi pants, the pants last year, he did really well. Moved down this year to middleweight. He lost in a really good match though. It was a really good match with Andy that made it all the way to the finals. But yes, I truly think he can win this whole division there. Uh, he's, my opinion, probably the most technical jiu-jitsu in that division.
It's really interesting that you said that because watching him up close at the Nogi Pans, it was cool to see how well rounded his game was. He had amazing takedowns. He used wrestling. He used some judo takedowns. He had guard passes, great control, great guard. It was an amazing technical display of jiu-jitsu that was really well rounded. So I was very impressed with his performance at Pan Nogi.
Yeah, and I know, and I think the same thing. Like, I watch him compete here. I see his guard is great. His guard passing is amazing. How he does his hip switches, and he showed a really great wrestling too. And one interesting fact that Natiali, his wife, asked, in one of the matches, not necessarily this last pants, but one of the competitor, she asked him like, "Oh, so what are you gonna do for this match?" He's like, I don't know. I'll just go and fight. Like he trusts his game. Like he's very well rounded. So he's
Mhm.
gonna feel the match and he's gonna go with the flow. Like he trusts his game that much, and this is one of the things that makes him who he is. Like he's really well rounded. So uh, it's an interesting match to see him match up with any of these guys because of that.
Let's talk about Ronaldo Jr. Ronaldo, you mentioned his nickname is the human highlight reel. He has some of the best guard passing we've ever seen in jiu-jitsu. He's so fast, so athletic, and his timing is incredible. He's a 2020, I believe 2020 Pan champion, and he's done amazing at all the major tournaments he's competed in, at least making it to the podium. What do you think about Ronaldo's game, specifically about his passing? I want to hear your take on that and just how he could potentially pass some of these guys' guards.
Yeah, so Ronaldo is very well rounded too. From the bottom, has a really good single leg X.
Mhm.
From the top, man, like his coordination, his footwork is just something out of this world. You know, um, he very athletic. His fast passes are amazing. But I think one thing that impresses me the most in his game is how coordinated he is and how smart feet, like how his feet are so smart. Like it just feels like he spends all day doing like little, like the little soccer workout. Just it feels like he has two brains, like one of each feet there, like besides his besides his actual brain, he has one brain on each feet too. It's just like his feet just magically works around how he windshield wipers and goes to one side and comes back and just creates angles too. Like the fact that he creates so much angles just makes so hard for the person on bottom to actually play guard against him. In order for a guard player to go against Ronaldo, they have to trap him somehow, And the matches that I see that some of the competitors have success against Ronaldo is when they tie him somehow, because if you let Ronaldo free, if Ronaldo is able to break the grips, you're not gonna have a good day. You're not gonna have a good day. His guard passings are just phenomenal, phenomenal. And on top of that, like it just you see a very loose passes there, but on top of that, he's a physically strong competitor too. So when he gets a hold of you after those guard passes, it's just no way back unless he comes back.
At middleweight, or excuse me, at black belt, we've seen Ronaldo mostly compete at middleweight, but in brown belt, he competed a lot at medium heavy, and he's even experimented with other divisions at black belt. I know at Jiu-Jitsu Con, he went up to the heavyweight division. He had an amazing performance. Do you feel like Ronaldo's game is better suited for heavier weight classes because the guys may have more difficulty dealing with his passing?
No, absolutely. If he's the kind of guy that if he's able to apply his game, doesn't really matter what weight class he goes. Um, uh, the heavyweight class there that they cannot follow his fast pace. They're definitely gonna have a hard time following him, and they're definitely gonna have a hard time stopping him. You know, his game. Once he applies his game, I don't think there's a difference if he goes in the middleweight, middle heavyweight, heavyweight. He can definitely do good with his game. He can definitely do good in any weight class.
Let's move on to the last competitor, Andre Porfirio. Andre is a 2021 Pan champion. On his run to gold at the 2021 Pans, he actually had a victory over Hibamar, which was really impressive. And he's been a guy who's competed pretty consistently as well. He's done really great at the major championships, has a great guard, great footlocks. How do you think Andre Porfirio's game is going to stack up against these other guys?
Uh, Andre Porfirio, man, great guard, great competitor, has a dangerous footlock. So he's the kind of guy that if he's ahead in the game, if he's a get ahead of the fight on the fight, and he is able to play his game against any of these competitors, they're gonna have a hard time flipping that score. So I truly think he has a big chance of winning those, even though he won. He beat Ribamar at 2021, right?
Yes.
At 2021. So he has a great chance of winning this. I truly think if he's able to apply his game, or if he snatched that footlock on any of these competitors there, it's gonna be hard to stop. It's gonna be hard to stop. So he's a threat for any of these competitors. Like I said, Isaac, super experienced, knows the way, but if he falls into Andre Porfilio's game, he's gonna have a hard time too. So what I mean is, if Andre Porfilio is able to put a good strategy and put the guys in his game, he can be the winner there.
Another tough question for you. If you had to pick a winner out of this group of four athletes, who are you going to go with? No easy
So
questions today, Samir.
yeah, no, this one, I can be safe and say, hey, the only world champion, a gi world champion there is Isaac Baines, so I'm gonna go with him. So that'll be the easiest spat out of your question. uh, but man, I think Ribamar is in a great moment right now. He can win. Betting against Ronaldo is something that I truly don't like to do. That guy is a monster. Andre Porfilio, as I said, man, he can snatch that win over anyone with his game. Um, but I do know Isaac has been with other priorities there too now too. So I'll say between Ribamore and Isaac Baez on this one. Um, I think one of these two, in my opinion, takes the win.
Can't wait to watch how that bracket plays out. It's going to be incredible.
Me neither, man. It's gonna be a good one.
One of the things that makes the IBJJF FloGrappling GP so awesome is that we have these two GP brackets, and then we also have three amazing super fights. So let's start with Tainan Dalpra, Rodrigo Lopez. Everyone knows about Tainan Dalpra. He's a two-time world champion, a two-time pan champion. He's won the Europeans. He's arguably one of the most dominant gi competitors right now. And Tainan has competed really consistently. He took a little bit of a break after the Worlds, but he came back at Jiu-Jitsu Con, won another gold medal. This match is going to be at medium heavy, though. Tainan usually competes in the middleweight division. So he's going to face Rodrigo Lopez, who has a great guard. He trains at double five with a great team, has good foot attacks. How do you see Tainan going up to medium heavy impacting the outcome of this match?
I think, man, Tainan has been on a roll. Like has been, in my opinion, the most dominant competitor in the scene right now on his weight class. I think not only my opinion, right? But he he's arguably, yes, the most dominant competitor in the past few years. Um, has won the last two world championships. Hasn't lost in quite a while. So I truly don't think one weight class would makes that much difference for a guy that's so dominant the way that he has been. You know, um, as we mentioned, he beat Isaac Bayense before, like last year at Worlds, and then Isaac moved to middle heavy and won, and went to all the way to the finals. So he has what it takes, man. Like in his game too, his game is so solid too. His game is so solid. His bottom game with his single leg X, trapping the opponent. His top game with his amazing passes. So I truly think moving up a one-way class, it's not that big of the deal for him.
Tainan's actually never lost a black belt match under the IBJJF rule set. So that's another really, really impressive statistic for him.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Like I said, uh, probably the most dominant competitor in the black belt scene right now.
That's going to be a fun match to watch, Tainan and Rodrigo.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Let's move on to the next super fight. We have a battle of some heavyweights. You got Felipe Andrew taking on Roosevelt Souza. Both these guys have incredible footlocks. I think that's one of the main storylines heading into this, is them, both these guys being not afraid to attack the submission against one another. Of course, Felipe is the number one ranked black belt adult athlete in the IBJJF. He competes all over the place, won double gold at Europeans, medaled at every major championship, travels all around the world to win open class divisions everywhere he can. So he's a very, very impressive competitor. Roosevelt, this was his first season in the U.S. competing as a black belt. So he had a great performance at the Pan Ams where he got bronze in his weight class, bronze in the open. Had a really impressive footlock win over Adam Wardzinski. So definitely has all the skills he needs to do well in this match. But what are your initial thoughts when you saw that this match was put together?
No, when I saw this match, when I saw this matchup, the first thing I thought was like, man, whoever wins this match, it's gonna be able to walk home.
Yeah.
Whoever loses, I don't know. I don't know. Because those two are gonna be hunting for that submission. Those two are gonna be hunting for that footlock. These two, as two of the most dangerous competitors in the black scene right now, and the black belt scene right now. I think, man, Roosevelt, his physical ability is crazy. Like he's a super strong guy and flexible. Has a great guard flexibility, but being like super physically strong at the same time, which is even unfair a little bit. Like how can you be that flexible, good, and so strong?
And
Like,
big, yeah.
it's funny, but man, like, yeah, and he's like when he gets a hold of the foot there, like you can see how well set up, how techniques in there on top of a lot of power in the moves. On the other side, man, you see one of the most consistent black belts we have, not in terms of like always winning, but he's either winning or he's right on the top, and he is probably the black belt that competes the most in the highest level. Probably the black belt that wins worlds and then competes at every single open, at every single IBJJF open. So he's definitely dangerous from any position. His triangles, his foot locks. It's just off his guard, off the back. That he has so many really dangerous attack. You know that it's gonna be a fun one to watch. Picking somebody, I'll pick Philip Andrew for this one for how consistent he is and how much tools he has there. But it's definitely not gonna be an easy one for him at all. It's definitely going to be a hard one to snatch that victory. But I'll come back to what I said in the beginning. Whoever lose that one might not be able to properly walk home, because their footlocks, both of them has just amazing footlocks, man. Yeah.
I really liked what you said too about Roosevelt's flexibility, because both these guys, they're so agile, they're so fast, and despite the fact that they're well over 200 pounds, they move like
Yeah.
lightweights.
And I did say that at our podcast before Worlds too, how much there's a shift. I've been fortunate. I'm fortunate to be through different generations. So I've been watching Jiu-Jitsu and following Jiu-Jitsu for so many years, even though I'm only 18. So I've been watching Jiu-Jitsu for so many years. I've been in the scene for so many years that I've seen a shift from the body abilities of our ultra heavyweights now, our heavyweights now are different than the ones 20 years ago. Like just jiu-jitsu becoming more professional. Like the heavyweights now, they're absolutely like they're strong, ripped, super flexible, and super agile. Like they're not like slow, and like when you like 20 years ago when you would think about uh, ultra heavyweight, you will see one or two that would have that kind of ability. But now they're almost all of them.
Yeah.
Almost all of them are like super well rounded physically, technically, and all that. So it's been more and more amazing to watch the heavyweight divisions because of that, because it's just a mix of body abilities.
I think that's one thing that's going to make the absolute GP in November so special. Is you're going to have all these big guys who are crazy athletes, amazing technique. So that's another event we're gonna break down. That's going to be really fun to talk about.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Let's talk about the final super fight. We have Jonathan Alves taking on Matthias Luna. When I spoke to Jonathan a little bit before the fight, he mentioned that they fought over a dozen times in the colored belts. So these
Oh
guys
wow.
are very familiar with each other's games, but this is actually the first time that they're meeting a black belt. So we know about Jonathan, three-time pan champion, great Baron amazing guard, great pressure passing. Matthias, really good on bottom, but also really thrives in the top position where he uses his speed and his timing, his accuracy with his passes, really, really good at passing from the outside. Have you seen these guys fight in the colored belts, and what are you expecting for this black belt match?
So I did see as a brown belt, lightweight. Uh, but that is one there's a thing there. Matthias is now a middleweight. He has been in the middleweight for quite some time now. I think ever since he got to black belt, right? So
Yes.
and I'm pretty sure he did win uh, American Nationals
Yes, as a
as
black belt. Yep.
a middleweight, right?
Yes.
As a black belt middleweight. So
Hmm.
he's gonna be ahead on that with a little weight advantage there. Uh, Great competitors, great passing, super explosive. That kind of guy that won't let you rest. That kind of guy that won't let you stall. He's gonna be going at you no matter what, no matter if it's the first minute into the match or if it's 9 minutes into the match. He's gonna be going after you if you stand up, if you're in your guard, or if you're passing. So that's gonna be really interesting to watch, because that fight's gonna be open, and I like that very much. Jonathan Alves, great passing, super tight passes, great guard, single leg X, berimbolo. Uh, I do think we can see more of him. So, and I do think this match is gonna show that. I think this match, how much Matthias opens up, I think that's gonna force Jonathan Alves to explore more his jiu-jitsu, and that's gonna be really good for us. That's gonna be watching. So I think Jonathan, in terms of credentials, Jonathan has been doing more in the black belt division. Has won 3-time Pan Ams. So I truly think he's gonna be able to really showcase his jiu-jitsu in this match, like I said, because I think Matthias is gonna open up. Uh, yeah, it's gonna be an interesting match. It's gonna be an interesting one. I'm really looking forward to this one. But one thing I'll tell you, I think this is gonna be a super fun match to watch, man. Because I actually think this is gonna be a more open match, and I'm excited to see that.
Yeah, I hope we get to see Jonas's guard versus Matthias's passing. That would be really fun for me.
That's gonna be really good. And if Jonathan don't, if Jonathan's gonna have to find a way to stop that action there from the front from the bottom in order for him to start playing with his grips, because if he let Matthias free, that's gonna be a problem. That's a problem for everyone, for anyone
Yes,
that does that.
absolutely. So that's the three super fights. We talked about the GP brackets as well. Any final thoughts on the IBJJF Flow Grappling Grand Prix?
It's gonna be a great event. I'm definitely not missing, and I'm super happy IBJJF is throwing that, because it's definitely bringing that professional attention to the scene. So I'm super happy that's going on, and putting the athletes in the spotlights like that. It's bringing them and forcing them to really be in that professional level. I think that's just reflects so much good to our sport. I'm really excited for that. Good luck to all competitors. I'm gonna be watching. I can't wait to watch that. And first female GP, super excited. And of course I'm excited to watch all the matches, but I think that female GP is probably the one that I'm most excited about.
Me too. I can't wait to watch all of it. So for anyone watching or listening, go to flowgrappling.com. The event goes down this Friday, October 28th, and we'll see you guys soon for another episode. Thanks.